The last big Terraria update came in April of 2017 with the 1.3.5 patch. Terraria 1.3.6 is the game's next big upgrade, and a firm release date has not yet been announced. 1.3.5 brought 4K resolution support, a zoom feature, language packs, and some new items such as crystal furniture. Of interest when looking ahead to the 1.3.6 patch, the dev's announcement included the statement that 1.3.5 would, quote, provide a solid foundation from which we can execute our other secret Terraria update plans, end quote. In the roughly 2 years since the last patch, a number of details about the 1.3.6 content have been revealed. What I like so much about these reveals is just how wide-ranging they are. There isn't one particular point of emphasis, and the team seems to be making a legitimate effort to improve the game from top to bottom, with little touches and a few larger ones. So, without further ado, let's look at some of these changes. Beginning with a statement from the devs in November of 2018, quote, as all of you know, 1.3.6 is heavily in development for PC. We have added many new features and mechanics, hired several part-time programmers from the mod community, and significantly added to the soundtrack of the game, end quote. The first feature I want to talk about may not be experienced by a big percentage of players out there, but it's so visually interesting I wanted to start with it, and that is Razer Chroma keyboard support. The basic idea is that the keyboard's multicolor LEDs are going to be backlit differently depending on where your character is in the game. The desert biome might be more red, the ice cavern might be more blue, etc. Control keys for the game will also be highlighted, so it's not just pretty to look at, it's also a useful feature, especially if you're going to be binging on this game late at night in a darkened room. And I think it's fair to say that most, if not all of us, have been there before. If you're wondering how expensive these keyboards are, well, there are several types. I've included an affiliate link to one that costs about $60 in the video description. There's a new mystery feature that's been shown as well. It involves items being tossed up in the air by the player. As of this video's posting date, no official answer has been given yet when people ask what exactly is going on here. So your guess is as good as mine. Some of the speculation I've read includes the possibility of an item pickup filter, which would be nice, or a gravity potion or gravity item affecting drops. Someone has even suggested that players might be able to craft some sort of a fan that can blow things away, but we really don't know at this point. Next up, we have some town and NPC upgrades. These include a new block swap feature, which is something that I'm pretty sure all of us wish had existed back from the beginning of the release. The basic premise for this is that you can now, as the name implies, simply swap out blocks from your base with a different tile set's blocks. This is extremely useful and time-saving, if not maybe the sexiest upgrade to the game systems, but it's a nice one nevertheless. Along similar lines, there'll be new furniture, such as corruption biome furniture, and even some disgusting spider furniture, which is about as niche as things can get in the furniture department. Not my cup of tea, but maybe for a novelty home design this could be put to some use. A really weird feature is the addition of NPCs using toilets. I'm not really sure who asked for this. It's not a complaint, just curiosity on my part. It's a random scatological addition to the game, so there you have it. Rounding out the town and NPC changes, there's going to be a new Town Night feature. I've linked a video in the description. It's a new soundtrack, but you'll also see some new visuals. They've announced that there's going to be a new moon graphic, and I'm posting here a still from the video I've linked to in the video description. Notice the color of the moon, and the fact that no monsters appear to be spawning in the preview. Is this some kind of a peace moon? We just don't know at this point. Going out into the world, there's going to be new backgrounds. I'll show off a couple of them right now. This one is a new ocean biome background, which actually reminds me a little bit of Super Mario World, and also F-Zero for some reason. Quite nice. I like the little islands in the background. The other one that they've previewed so far appears to be a background for the Crimson biome, and it features a mostly intact skeleton of some kind of enormous dinosaur. Also being added to the game in 1.3.6 will be 8 new Minimap Borders, to further increase the amount of customization available. This addition is a totally unnecessary thing for them to do, which to me really shows how committed the development team is to putting a new coat of polish on the game. And it's really hard to believe at this point, but this game has been out since 2011, so they've really been working on this game for a long time. We have no way of knowing whether there are more to come, but the devs have also released a preview of a new mini biome. This one is the Oasis, which is a nice little way to break up the desert biome. The old school gamer in me wishes there were something that would happen if you do things like play a flute or some other trick at the Oasis, like back in the old NES days, but it's pure speculation at this point whether this is anything more than just a pretty picture to look at while you're trekking through the desert. But it's fair to say some gameplay, even if it's just a little bit, if it were associated with this, could be a nice touch by the dev team. On the equipment front, as I mentioned earlier, things are really all over the place. There's going to be a new minecart called the Minecart. You can probably guess why. Yes, here it is. It's the dad joke minecart, I guess. Is it faster than the regular minecart? I'd like to know. Maybe this is just a purely cosmetic touch. It's very frivolous, very silly, and there's not really much more I can say about it. Other equipment being added to the game includes something that people have been talking about a lot lately, and that is this Scarab Bomb. It's apparently going to be found in the desert biome, and the developer's description reads as follows, quote, "Unique to the desert biome and descended from the ancient beetles of legend, these handy helpers make digging long tunnels or shafts a breeze." End quote. It remains to be seen how easy it is to acquire these Scarab Bombs, or how deep a shaft they can dig, but I can't imagine they'd be adding these things if they weren't useful. Included in Relogic's recent State of the Game post, they also wrote, quote, "This is just one of a handful of tweaks and new aspects we have added for the desert," end quote. So I suppose all of us can expect more additions for the desert biome. Moving on to the creatures, there's a new Blood Moon monster appearing in this upcoming patch. I don't know whether it's been officially named yet, but this humanoid goblin shark is going to make an appearance. I'll let the devs explain. Quote, "We are very excited to announce the most recent addition to Terraria, Blood Moon fishing. During Blood Moons, you'll now be able to fish up disgusting new monsters," notice the plural, "for a chance at new loot related to the Blood Moon." I've included a link to a Twitter post showing this creature leaping out of the water. Find the link in the video description below. Back in the realm of frivolous upgrades, they're adding kites to the game. Now, kites are a good litmus test for when a developer has already crammed a crazy amount of content into a game. The one we're looking at now is a wyvern kite, but you'd have to think that other kites are going to follow. A no-brainer has to be an Eater of Worlds kite, but I'm sure most of you can think of some other alternatives as well. If they handle kites anything like they've handled banners, then they're probably going to go absolutely hog wild with these things. Even if it's just along the lines of mounts and that sort of thing, I can imagine quite a number of different kites eventually being added to the game. Kites require wind, and this leads me to the conclusion of the video, which is the addition of wind. This is my favorite new feature that they've advertised for 1.3.6, and you can see here how the wind affects trees. How cool does this look? In my opinion, this is the best feature they're adding. It's probably the best feature they could have added to the game within reason to give it a new coat of paint and a new lease on life. Everything just looks so much more alive compared to the static trees we've been used to. And one of the reasons I like this so much is it actually reminds me of what they were planning on doing with the now cancelled Terraria Otherworld, because we saw stuff like this in the previews for that game. And so it's good to know that they're not just saving all of their good ideas for Terraria 2 or whatever sequel they have in the works. No, they're giving us some of these ideas for free, which is great. And it's making this already large and comprehensive game pretty remarkable. So thanks for listening to all of this rambling. If you don't want to miss more videos, please subscribe to the channel and like this video. I get the feeling, as you probably do, that more announcements from the dev team will trickle out in the weeks and months to come, so keep tuning in. Thanks again.